Today we're going to podcast with Jessica Warner, a featured attorney at the Arizona family law firm for all things family law. And she is dynamite. And we're going to talk a little bit about the law, what kind of brought her to it. And also we're going to talk some paddleboarding. I'm going to try to talk her into pickleball. And at some point, she's going to want to start interviewing me. So let's get going. Let's get casting.
Okay.
So, Jessica, you've been one of the people I've been looking forward to talking to the most for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And it really goes back to when we first met, which has been a while now. And you said something that grabbed my attention.
Okay.
So I want to get to know you a little bit. Just based on what you said, I was just intrigued, and it's not left me. You said that you got into law so that you could practice family law. Mm-hmm. Can you explain that a little bit? First, give us your name, and then why family law?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Jessica Warner. It should be McCann because I recently got married and I have not changed it yet. So it might change soon.
How cool is that? They're both good last names.
I know. That's my debate. So family law, I've always wanted a job in working with families. So I started off with social work. I did an internship with Department of Child Services Abuse and Neglect Department. And I did that in college. And I looked around and all of the social workers, shout out to them because their jobs are hard. They were not happy. And I think everyone I worked with said, don't do this. And one took a stress leave for 6 months. And I started going to court through that process with some of the social workers for the family law cases. And I kind of saw, I like this aspect a little bit more than the social work part. So I was like, maybe I'll head towards law and help families that way. I still didn't know I wanted to go to law school. That seemed like such a far dream to me. So I continued to do that. And then I went through college with the mindset of helping families in one way or another. I graduated college, and I was like, I don't know what to do with my life. So I worked as a paralegal, personal injury and medical malpractice. And I still, throughout that process, that was 2 years, and I still, throughout that time, I was like, I still want to help families. So I never changed that. And then as I was a paralegal, I realized I wanted more of a challenge. I was kind of sick of filing and scanning documents. It's a hard job, but I wanted more, and I wanted to be the attorney. I wanted to be in the courtroom. So I went to law school. And in law school, I set my whole entire curriculum around family law. And I was like, maybe I don't want to do this, maybe I do. So I took an internship with a family law judge, and that intrigued me more.
Got it.
Yeah. So it's always been there. I don't know.
Just always been kind of creeping towards where you've been for quite some time now.
Yes. I always wanted to help families. I wanted to be involved some way. Social work was not my path. And thankfully, I had the courage to attend law school. That seemed crazy to me. And shout out to my former boss when I was paralegal. He encouraged me to go. So like I said, I did everything family law I possibly could. And I just never left that passion.
So this begs the question. So, I mean, now I can kind of see where you're going and where you're coming from. How is being a family law attorney helping a family?
Yeah, and I think I wish I had the mindset going into family law of wanting to help families transition through this process. I wanted to figure out a way of making it less stressful, less overwhelming, and less negative on the kids, because I actually did a research project in undergrad of the negative effects children can have through divorce. Yeah. So I had this whole mindset, and I'm a child of divorce. My parents did not go through a good divorce. They still don't talk to this day. And it doesn't bother me as much as maybe my sibling, but it does affect children. So I had this mindset of I want to help families that way. It has yet in my career to be determined how to do that, because as I go through, I try to have, tough love talks with my clients.
Sure.
And it's not always, they don't always take it in. I mean, they do, they're respectful and they like to hear me out, but at the end of the day, I still see parents fight and involve the children in negative ways.
Yeah.
So I try to do that, help families that way, but it's not always a success, unfortunately.
We have been, the Arizona firm, the family division, has been blessed with this mindset that you just enhanced from day one and kind of put it on steroids. Like you really souped up the motor.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's unfortunate that the lawyer doesn't see how much impact you had on a family, because they don't come back and say, I'm getting along
Yeah.
with, and thank you for saying that long time ago when I was emotional and irrational and maybe just not my best self. That's kind of when you meet a lot of these folks, is when they're not at their best.
Yeah, the hardest time in their lives, probably.
Yeah. And so I'm at the gym the other day, so hear me out. You'll like this, though, I think. And we have this super fun fella at the gym that is very flamboyant. Everybody at the gym that watches this will know exactly who I'm talking about. And so we'll just name him, for the sake of this conversation, John.
Okay.
And John has some permed hair and some fun facial features, or facial hair that's always moving and creeping and shaking. And his outfit choices are one in which, I couldn't pull off his tennis shoes, let alone anything above it.
Okay.
And where's his shorts? A little short, too. John could be one of the coolest human beings on the planet. He's just a fun dude.
Yeah.
He says the other day, and just no provocation, no anything, he's like, his kids were all coming to the gym with him. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning. This is not normal protocol for parenting nowadays.
Yeah.
But good for him. Kudos, right? He's got his kids being active and so on, and with him. And he just said one day when they weren't, they had started school, so this has been recent. He said, it's been 3 hellish years, in and out of court, in and out of court. The divorce has been done for far longer than that. Mm-hmm. And it's been 3 years, and we are getting along for the first time. And I can't tell you the peace that I'm feeling right now. And so that's what you're telling your clients from Jump Street. Everybody thinks they're being reasonable. But they forget there's that emotional reasonable, and then there's, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
What's the black and white? How's a judge going to see this?
Exactly.
Might not be the way they see it.
Exactly. That's the tough part.
Do you find that the opposing counsels are more challenging than possibly your clients?
Yes. I'm glad you bring that up, because my friends, my family will ask, like, what's a tough part of your job? Of course, it's dealing with people in the hardest time of their lives. I enjoy that part. I like to be the comfort for them. I like to handle things for them. But I've recently said it's dealing with opposing counsels. And sometimes they're very mean. They're very aggressive for no reason, or they don't answer you. They don't respond, or they put on an unreasonable position, or they make false statements. And that drives me crazy.
Yeah. When they're just straight up lying.
Yes.
Like the jokes say.
Just to get billable hours. I don't know what else the motive could be. It's happened too many times in my short career so far, and it is one of the hardest things to deal with.
And a neighbor, you'll like this, because I had a neighbor some time ago. And this has been many, many, many years ago. And I dared to take one of your favorite staffers that's been with us forever, and Becky was doing a lot of the paralegal work and a lot of the communication and a lot of that, and we all know how much you rely on staff and getting things done. We went to what's called a mediation. It was mandatory. But this one was a little bit unique. They elected to do a private mediation. And I thought, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So we get in there, and we're advised of how crappy our case was by the opposing counsel and how they're going to file this. I mean, this string of motions that they're going to file, and so on and so forth. And the client, whom I knew, because I mentioned they were my neighbors.
Yeah.
So I knew that attorney's client, which will remain nameless, the attorney. And I knew, obviously, my client. And it seemed like everybody was just as shocked
Yeah.
at what was being said by this aggressive
bully.
Yeah, this gal had it going on. I mean, she was really, really on one. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I kind of shut it down pretty quick. It's a private mediation. It's on the clock type stuff.
Yeah.
And we weren't going anywhere. And so I kind of shut it down. And as we were all walking out, I knew that my neighbor, we were still on not terrible terms somehow, some way. And this very aggressive bully, you called it, is driving off. And her license plate's one of those vanity license plates.
Oh, gosh.
And it was EDU, so edu, and then the number 8, ED, educated.
Oh, gosh.
In this Beamer was probably cost more than my house at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm a young lawyer back then, and being young was nice. But anyhow, I just looked at that thing, and I probably shouldn't have said what I said.
I don't know.
I know, right? But it was to my neighbor. And I said, look what you're paying for, Bob.
Ooh.
And some years later, the interesting part of this is, so you live long enough, you get these some years later stories. I run into him randomly. I don't remember where exactly. And he said, you're right. I mean, I paid a fortune, and exactly what you proposed was what we ended up with. Mm-hmm. And so we're trying to save. It's hard to save everybody from everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot,
especially their opposing counsel.
Yes.
Their own counsel. You want to save this relationship between husband, wife that is no longer going to be.
Yes.
But you kind of feel like a lone man in the
I
garden.
know, and I feel bad at that. It's the hardest time in their lives. They're stressed out. They're overwhelmed.
Right.
The last thing they want to do is Google an attorney and find the right one. It's hard to figure out if the right one is the right one until it's too late.
Right.
And so you don't know an attorney's motives, but there are attorneys there that their focus is to get the billable hours.
Right.
And they will look unreasonable. They'll tell you maybe false hope in court. So one of my things since I started as attorney is I'm trying to be honest. And sometimes you'll get an email that's like, oh, I didn't like that. But it's my job to be honest. Because if you lose at court and you come at me, or if someone gets attorney's fees awarded or something, that looks bad on me. So it's my job to be honest throughout the whole process.
Right.
But some attorneys just don't care.
Right.
I've had an older attorney call me and say, I will file these motions. I will get this right. I'll file an appeal and on an issue that I knew I was right on. And he was trying to push me to dismiss the motion that we had pending and just agree with him on everything. And I knew in my heart that I was right, and I was right, and I won on that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he said, I have 10 years of experience. I know all this. I know blah, 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 and I'll file an appeal. And I said, no, you have this wrong.
Right.
You just got to follow your gut.
And he did.
Yeah.
Right. So you're passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
So then let's finish this part about Jessica McCann, Warner.
I like that.
Well, I like it all.
Yeah.
Just go with McCann. Keep it simple. But,
Warner McCann.
Okay. You could go that route.
It's
Okay.
either Jam or Jaw.
Ooh. That's a good point.
Jessica Ann Warner. Jessica
I'm going to have
Ann
to think
McCann.
on this.
Yeah.
That's ultimately your decision.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let it be between you and you.
Mm-hmm.
What's cool is the passion that you bring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's unique. And then the integrity
Yeah.
that you just don't compromise. And you either come that way or you don't.
Yeah.
How do you keep things in your personal life and some of the hobbies that you might do?
Yeah.
How do you keep things on a level where you feel good about you, good about progress, good about your husband, you're married,
Yeah.
good about life in general? What are some of your hobbies? What are some of the things that you do to kind of make things?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's hard. It's hard to separate. It's hard to shut down my laptop at 5 o'clock and just walk out and not think about my clients.
Right.
So I'm trying to learn that. I don't know if I'll ever succeed fully at that. And I told Becky soon after I started, is like, I don't check my emails anymore on the weekend unless I have trial coming up the next week or something and I have to work. But I try to stay away from my emails. For hobbies, to stay away from as much stress as possible, because it is a stressful job, I go for walks every morning with my dog. I just went for a 30-minute walk this morning. I like to wake up early.
That's awesome.
I don't check my phone. I don't really have coffee until I am done with my walk. Or I go to a workout class in the mornings or after work. So working out's very important to me, walking, taking time away from my phone. And when I get home, I try not to work either. Like, unless I have a deadline or something, but I try to keep my laptop in the office.
Okay.
And I will spend time with my husband or my dog.
Do you feel like that, because I love that, you start your day and you start it the same way, movement.
Yeah.
However that looks. It could be with your dog. It could be at the gym. It could be.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's with movement. So you start your day there. And then from there, you move from, okay, going to work now, work mode, and let's leave work at home. Do you feel like that's servicing your clients better?
I do, because I've told, I don't know, countless people, I don't want to burn out. I see attorneys burn out. Those are usually the opposing counsels that are not answering
Right.
or they're not doing their job properly or missing deadlines. I don't want to be that attorney. So it's important for me, and I don't want to send like a mean email or something that might come off as mean because I'm in a bad place.
Right.
So it's important for me to have those boundaries.
Right.
If a client tries, and I do use my cell phone, but if a client tries to text me or call me after hours, I try to set boundaries. It's hard. I'm still learning. But for me to be an attorney and be fully present during office hours and during the week, I have to shut that down at a good time.
Yeah, you've figured it out. I mean, you figured that's going to be a constant figure out, but
It takes habits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you figured that out, that the better you, the better you.
Yeah. My husband helps me stay on track.
Awesome.
I mean, if I have to work on the weekend, he understands, but he's also like, let's go do something. He took me to Jerome last weekend. Like,
oh, hey.
Just,
What'd you do in Jerome?
Oh, we just walked around the town.
It's a cute
little town. Well, I had like 3 hearings last week, so he could tell I was stressed.
Yeah, that's a big
So he
week.
said, let's get distracted. It's hot. It's so hot. We don't want to do anything outside, so we're like, let's go escape Phoenix or Mesa. So
How'd you like Jerome?
I loved it.
Yeah?
It was so fun.
Did you pick anything up? Any little
No, we went to an art gallery, and it was like so expensive.
You don't really want to buy art.
We just walked in and walked out.
No offense in Jerome or anything. But if you
love Jerome,
I did too. I used to ride our Harleys up there back in.
I bought some earrings for my mom, and I supported them.
All right, that's something.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, back when one of my first of 74 midlife crises was a Harley, and so if you got a Harley, you got to end up in Jerome at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what you do.
That would be pretty cool.
I never pulled off the Harley dude look. Just be straight.
Yeah, maybe not in a suit like that.
I've never looked much different from the neck up. So it's
my God, that's so funny.
Kind of, maybe I need a beard going on or something.
Yeah.
Be a face tattoo. We'll work on that in the next go around.
My husband tried to bring up a motorcycle, and I shut that down real quick.
Yeah, you want to keep him around, do you?
We got paddle boards. We'll start there.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's another thing, is going outside, going outdoors.
Yeah.
I'm from Michigan, so you can't really do anything except for 3 months out of the year. So in Arizona, there's so much to do. I think that really helps, relieve some stress and help my mental health too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it seems like, those habits that you were talking about spill over into the product and what you're able to do. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You've surprised me. Everything about your progress once you got out of high school seems to be going towards where you're sitting right now.
Yeah, and it's weird because looking back, I didn't know.
Right.
I feel like I woke up one day and I was like, all right, I'll go to law school. But this whole time, it's been towards that.
Right.
I just never realized it, I guess.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That's
I think it comes from maybe coming from divorce.
Yeah.
I think it stems initially from that, but yeah, it slowly progressed, and here I am.
There's an initial, I understand, from a lot of different vantage points now.
Yeah.
But living through that, how Interesting. So and now you're paddleboarding in Arizona.
Yeah, once in a while.
Where do you guys go?
Canyon Lake.
Oh,
Or Cigar Lake.
All right.
They're really close to us.
It's Saguaro.
Okay.
Saguaro,
My bad.
But Canyon you got right. Canyon's
Yeah.
beautiful. Eh?
I know. I love
Beautiful.
it.
It's not too far off either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike is a big paddleboarder guy.
Oh, okay.
So you might want to talk to him about where he likes to go.
Yeah.
The river right there by Saguaro Lake,
The Salt River? Yeah.
the Salt, has a bunch of wild horses roaming around and so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. And you get a sneak peek of those.
That's what I heard. My friends came to visit me from Michigan. They went there.
It's better to go there not now. It's better to go there
Yeah.
like April, May.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it's a little cold. It's a little chilly then.
It's just too hot.
But for you
Right
Michigan folk, I mean, you might be thinking no big deal.
Yeah. We got tough blood.
Yeah, no big deal here.
Yeah.
But that'd be you get the melt off, so the river's running a little bit more,
Yeah.
and so it's a little bit funner paddleboarding.
Yeah, we stopped by there one time. It's beautiful over there.
Yeah.
It's just nothing like in Michigan. Love Michigan, but it's very cold a lot of the time.
I've been to Michigan. I spent a week there one night.
It has its ups and downs. Like I said, winter lasts forever, it feels like.
Yeah.
Arizona, the sun's out too much. My husband texted me a couple weeks ago. I was a picture of the sun, and he's like, please just go away. And yeah, that's how we feel in the summer.
Where's he from?
He's from Michigan, too.
Okay.
Yeah, we just decided, like, we need to
sun's
get out of the
out
winter.
too much.
Yeah. Now in the summer, it's out all the time, and yeah.
Yeah, we
complain.
didn't really get a good monsoon this year, but we'll get.
Yeah.
It'll hit when it hits. So, our thunderstorms are pretty.
Yeah.
They're pretty
They're
awesome.
actually pretty cool.
Yeah. My wife works. Is from Vegas, which is, I mean, if you're going to stick an enema in the world, that's where you stick it. No offense to those of you that are big Vegas people, but Vegas is just a butthole. It's all the heat
I've been
with
there. It's
constant wind all the time. So if you're worried about your hairdo, that's just kiss that
I
goodbye.
went there in August in my early 20s, and I still remember the heat. It was brutal.
Yeah, and you live here for quite some
I know.
time, and it's like nowhere near somehow, some way that.
Well, the girls there was like, let's walk the strip. So I was like, yeah, it was brutally hot.
Yeah, it sucks. Anyway, so she decided to stay here from her youth, and she points out all sorts of stuff that I've been missing all my life because I'm like a 6th generation native, which is crazy train. And like on every side of if I'm not related to you, you're from out of state. Otherwise, I'm related to you somehow.
Yeah.
That's why I had to pick a girl from Vegas. I mean, it just so happens that, you know.
Yeah. You know,
But she points out all the time, like, look at that sunset. Look at that moon. Look
That's
at that
what I
moon.
do.
And I'm starting to see there's some similarities.
Yeah, because you come here and you're like, it's beautiful. I just want to take a picture. I just want to show off like how amazing Arizona is compared to, Vegas or Michigan.
Or other places, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've been taking that for granted all my
Michigan
days.
has the water, though. It has the lakes.
Yeah. That is charming. They are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah, that is awesome. So how important, let's get into a few things and then let's tap on out, but a few things I kind of like the idea of, you kind of have this band up there. I don't know why I said up there, over there, in there. Anyway, you have this band of merry ladies that are very, very, very just proficient, and you guys have this system that seems to just march that services the client.
Yes.
Everybody seems to look at this the same way. Tell me how unique you feel like that is.
Yeah, and it's so important, especially in business of law. There's deadlines. There's certain things you have to do on a timely basis. If you don't have the right people next to you to make sure that's getting done, then you're gonna fail. Like it's important, and they're motivated. They're so motivated to make sure things are getting done. So it's rare, I would say. I mean, I've seen some good assistants. I've seen some bad. I haven't worked with a bad assistant yet, so that's good. And I like to think that I was a pretty good paralegal, but I have heard of bad assistants, and that just destroys everything because the attorney has to look over everyone. But it's hard to do that if you're trying to figure out everything else for the case.
Right.
So it's like it's really important to have those people that support you and make sure things are getting done. And I can tell they're on top of it, and I'm very blessed to have them.
Yeah. And they love you because you love the clients, and you love them because they love the clients, and everybody's like involved. It's like this Navy SEALs to get this project done for each and every client. And I'm like, these guys are awesome
and like
to
if
watch.
I'm not available to talk to a client, Taylor or Becky will. So there's always they don't mind. They never complain. I don't think we've ever complained about anything, and they know everything about a case too. So if I forget a little detail, they know it. They can just tell me right away. So it's great. I mean, it's great that you need an assistant or a paralegal that not only is getting the stuff done, the work done, but knows the case as well. Right. Just in case something comes up.
Yeah, and that lengthy, long set of experience that they bring to the table doesn't hurt either. Yeah. And so it's like literally, I didn't today, it was this morning, I didn't want to mess up like all the ladies in there. I'm like, I don't feel invited.
We had a meeting on Monday, and I was like, it just flows. It's just great. And awesome. I don't feel bad saying, please get this done, because they know, like, I'm bored. I have to get it done. So, like, we know our priorities. We're pretty good at that. Awesome. When I came here, I was like, wow, this is amazing, because I have a good support team.
Yeah. Well, we've all felt the same way. I mean, the Arizona firm's never going to be the same. I mean, it's been fantastic ride, but you're never going to cease to surprise me. Okay. So you come on in here, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to hear about paddleboarding already. Wait, what are you going to get into pickleball next? We're known for that too.
No.
You're not
just paddleboard for
just
now.
Paddleboard for now?
Yeah, just taking one thing at a time.
Okay. I mean, I've got these good habits. I bust out of bed in the morning. I get up early. I walk my dog. If I'm not feeling the dog that day, I'm going to hit the gym. I'm like, okay, she's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, no.
But that's smart, though. Yeah. I mean, that's veteran stuff. That's things that you got to take care of. And your mental, your mental health, your health in general, just your well-being. I think well-being is a good way to put it, because you're providing a service every day to these folks that is.
It does, and day in and day out, you don't feel it, but I know that I'm stressed. Yeah, and it's a good stress though. I mean, I just had a trial last week, and I was getting worked up on cross because the other side was so unreasonable in my view, and my client agreed, and this poor client deserves what we were asking for. And I don't always do that. I'll tell a client if they're being unreasonable or if they might not get it, but this client, I knew in my heart, deserves what he was asking for. So I was getting worked up on cross-examination, and he's like, I've never had an attorney so passionate. It's just because I get involved. I probably get involved too much. Yeah. I've had clients try to almost turn into a therapy session on the phone. Right. Which I don't mind, but I am not licensed to do that. But I am passionate about them. Yeah. Well, that's why you have Mr. McCann to notice it on you, and to take you to Jerome. Yeah. And there's a whole lot more Jeromes out there. Yeah, and he'll do little things like, oh, it's pizza night. That's cool. You don't need to cook. That is so cool. Yeah. So it's good. I think overall it's good to have a good work system, a good paralegals. I'm lucky to have two. And to have a good husband or spouse at home. Yeah. And have a good routine. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to do this again with you because you're fun. Yes. And I'll ask you questions next. Yeah. Yes. Oh, we should do that. Let's do that. We're going to do that. Okay. You ask me the questions. All right. I will. Okay, but I'm nervous about what you're going to ask. Because we were ripping on folks that lie, and I don't want to do that. Yeah. Just prepare. You could pretty much ask me anything. I'm boring, but I do like the habits. We'll find out. We'll find out. I'm assuming you're going to. It's going to be interesting. All right, we're going to do that. I'm excited.